What you are currently watching is actually the fourth iteration of this video, which is actually pretty rare for me. After all I really need to do is, write down my thoughts, record whatever I want to say, edit it, which takes some time, and that's about it. That's the video. I even know pretty well about what I actually want to say, so why is this the fourth version? I mean, if the process is so simple, why am I still trying here? What's wrong with the previous versions? Why do they feel just so bad? It's hard to explain. And why should you care to keep watching? On a surface level, this video is about a website called Creator Now, whose main purpose is to connect creators, to allow them to watch exclusive lectures about creating, and to reward them for being consistent in their upload schedule. Recently, a channel called Yes Theory, with 8 million subscribers, whose goal is to sort of spread positivity and humanity that they find in the world, they hosted a sort of course, a six-week long set of lectures that would cover everything they learned during their 8 years of filmmaking. As of the publishing of this video, that course ends tomorrow. Naturally, the question here is the cost, and it may surprise you. $350 to use the site for 1 year. Now, that's a pretty big number, certainly nothing to scoff at, and it makes you wonder, is that really what all these, lectures, systems, and access to people costs? I don't know, couldn't you watch some YouTube tutorials, use Twitter and stay motivated? Well, you wouldn't be the only one, as the announcement video for this, which I believe is now hidden, had a, I think, 90% dislike ratio, which is, it's really high and by far the highest on the channel. As you may have guessed, I still joined. But why? Well, that's the question I really wanted to answer in this video. Why was it that I joined the site of people when it's really something that I normally wouldn't do? Let's start with those systems that I mentioned. What are they? Well, primarily it's a deadline for you to upload once a week. And for doing so, you get these coins and happy animations. What can you do with the coins? Well, you can buy merchandise about Creator Now, or you can freeze your streak so you don't have to upload that week. Well, that certainly doesn't sound like much now, does it? It ends up being the sort of gamification of a system that may or may not really need it, and it's kind of a bad intuitive motivator, as well as a not so great external motivator. The skip is an interesting idea, but, well, shouldn't you be punished for not being consistent? Not, be able to just skip the process? In the 6 weeks that this course was happening and that I was on the site, I didn't use coins a single time, so the system wasn't that effective for me. Well, that's certainly not very positive of me now, is it? But what about the people? Isn't that a huge part as well? Well, there's a reason that the whole Yes Theory course, as I call it, is usually called a cohort, a group of people with a shared characteristic. If there's such a big emphasis on people, who uses this site? I could go on and on here about the people, but how about I just show you? Here are some primarily random videos I found from its members.
You want your morning to look like this instead of this.
Yes.
Well, then get yourself out of the comfort zone.
Welcome back to my day 2 of my 99-day vlog series of thinking like a billionaire.
Here are a few tips on how to save money while traveling. You should plan ahead. One of the easiest ways to save money is planning ahead of time. This allows you to compare your prices and find deals.
Now, that was quite a few videos, and you may find them all to be fairly normal. However, to me, they're pretty standard and boring. I've seen the motivation channels, fitness channels, travel channels. I did X at Y place. I've seen them many times, and I think you've seen many too. However, why is that bad? Can't people make whatever they want to make? Well, of course, but it's so boring. Is that really your purpose? Your motivation? Your sort of unique aspect why people should watch you specifically? To appeal to the lowest common denominator? To just get the money and run? Well, yeah, that's probably about it, but who am I to judge? After all, what, do I make better content? Do I get to now decide what people make and can't make? No, I can't decide that. But I can decide who I talk with. And, well, I tried a few times to talk with people who make
What's up, y'all?
this type of
It's your boy.
content, but didn't really go anywhere. It wasn't really that interesting. So the systems and the people are not, well, what I prefer, but what about those lectures, right? The ones meant to teach you how to become a big YouTuber, how to be a successful creator. It's obviously hard to cover everything in, well, 20 hours of footage, but fundamentally, these lectures are there to sort of inspire you to think yourself, rather to present you with, well, the facts. And there is a distinction here. A factual lecture is one that just comes in and says that, for example, 2 plus 2 is 4. But an inspirational lecture will explain to you why 2 plus 2 is 4, why it is important, and why 2 plus 3 is 5. It's not so easy to sort of take in, but if you think about it, well, you can certainly learn a lot more. So, if the point of these lectures is to make you sort of realize something, why is it that over this entire course, I remember about 20 minutes of things that happened? Why is it that I never applied anything I learned in my videos? It's because it's led by Yes Theory, a channel whose purpose is to spread humanity and positivity they find in the world. But that's not what my channel is about. It's about interesting things I sort of talk about for whatever reason, and our styles are completely different. We are simply not the same. And when they talk about purpose, they talk about relatable people. When they talk about editing, they talk about finding the story in the edit. But how do you do that with a scripted video? And if these are incorrect to me, then why should I listen to them for everything else when so many things just don't intersect? So in the end, I didn't answer anything. Once again, I sat down, wrote the script, tried to record, and it doesn't work. And I'll have to rewrite the script for the 5th fucking time. I just don't understand why all these lectures ended up being just so pointless. I mean, I wrote down like so many notes, and yet our tastes don't match. Or I don't need to make ideas because, well, I just kind of come up with them. I don't really ever care why stories exist or that sort of approach. Well, but why? Even if we don't make the same videos, shouldn't like the principles remain? And aren't they supposed to teach that? Even if I don't think their suggestions are useful, well, why aren't they useful? I just don't understand why I don't get it. I found it. It was the first storytelling lecture where this was posed. Why? The question you must always ask. And it makes so much sense. If you know the reason of something, I mean, you can understand it. Why were the lectures so useless? It's because I wanted them to be. I'm not a particularly happy person, and when faced with an overwhelming amount of positivity, I want to sort of balance it out to be more realistic or something. And when people kept saying that the lectures are just amazing, the best thing they've ever seen, super blessed to be here, well, I kept wanting to find faults in that, to prove them wrong, that the lectures were laggy, that the site was laggy in general, and that, well, you paid a lot of money to be here. It wasn't sort of to change their mind, it's to make myself right. Whether this was bad or good, well, it doesn't matter that much. Because the important part is knowing why. It's knowing why I found the lecture so useless and realizing that it's because of me, not because of them. If we then look back on all the lectures, you'll find that they were at least, well, interesting. I mean, look at just how many notes I wrote down. There's bound to be something useful in there. So why were they useless? Well, it's because I didn't want to change my video making process. And because they started with more fundamental things like ideating or taste before moving on to stuff like editing or filming. So I organized all of my highlighted notes and, well, you'll find that I wrote down 700 words of useful tips that I can apply to every video I make. But not just that, these include stuff about, work ethic, motivation in life, and storytelling outside of the YouTube medium. This is why we're on the 4th video. It's because I asked why. I was too focused on hating on Creator Now to balance out that positivity, and I never asked why. So the video felt aimless. It didn't have the purpose and it didn't have a reason for you to watch it. Similarly with people, my reasoning was sort of accurate, but why was it so effective? Well, in reality, at least from my experience, I usually don't care what other people have to say, especially strangers. And so I kind of expected people to just look at me and care about me. I try to keep attention on me through being odd, creative, honest. But why should everyone care for that? And why should I believe I have such a power? Lastly, those systems to keep you motivated, well, they're not some big focus or anything. They may help some, but what, you're gonna lose some coins if you don't upload? I'd assume that living your life is a bit more important than that. However, this still doesn't answer one question. Why did I join? What is my purpose for being here? Well, just like opposing the positivity of others, I wanted to oppose one more thing, myself. It was discomfort, to seek discomfort. Before I joined Creator Now, I was uploading rainbow videos, and it wasn't even that consistently. The Babecast episodes they're videos, but they're sort of loopholes in my mind to make me think that I can retain consistency by uploading them. So, when I did join Creator Now, well, I did so maybe because I could, learn something, maybe because I could meet some people, but more importantly, it was a symbol of dedication. A dedication to reach a new level of what I can be. So, I worked ahead on all my university projects and decided that I would make videos that challenged me and that broadened my horizons, and that I wouldn't give up for as long as this course reminded me of what it symbolized. I first made the big numbers video, for which I worked really hard. Even after a long script that ended at oblivion, I went to absolute infinity for a better video. But after it got far less views than I expected, which made me pretty sad, well, I continued again. Next came the river video, where I wanted to express myself in a different way and to not just spoon-feed meaning to my audience, but to actually make them think. However, all it did was push people further away, so I continued again. Then came the suffering videos, which were effectively summaries of interesting articles that I have found. However, in my quest to find more viewers, I split the two videos to appeal to different audiences. In the end, neither really reached their full potential, so I continued again. After that was the cognito hazards video, where I wanted to better explain an idea I found so interesting, but people found flaws, be it commenters or philosophers, to the point where a commenter essentially changed my mind about its possibility for a cognito hazard to even exist. So, I continued again. And lastly, there was, of course, the Chigiraka video. With it, I wanted to break away from the fear of myself and my actions. And I wanted to show the world that it wasn't just black, but a rainbow of perspectives. But nobody cared. Nobody found it interesting. So I continued again. So, of course, this video is here to challenge me again, as after experimenting over and over and over and over and over again, I finally decided to face my biggest fear and to ask why. When I did, I began to realize why I was so disappointed in my own videos. Be it an emphasis on views or an expectation to reach an impossible level of quality with such a small amount of effort, it began to make more sense. In reality, this video's title is Creator Now and Why You Must Always Ask Why. Why it's so important to understand the reasons for your actions, not just when making videos, but when doing just about anything in your life. Why we will never reach perfection. Why people won't listen to everything that you have to say. Why people will stick with what they know rather than changing. Why knowing too much or asking too much can be bad, and why you can make something interesting and have no one find interest in it. I can't promise that I will always make videos that are worth watching. However, I will always try to give my videos a purpose and a reason for you to hopefully watch them. So, I will begin creating the first big video. A video where I will put everything I've learned into practice to cover something I've been wanting to cover for months now. And I will not subject myself to the chains of consistent uploads. It may take weeks, it may take months, but it will get made. All I can hope for is that you will stay long enough to see it.